Here we go.
The most hated female in the country. Who springs to mind? Wasn't it the woman years ago who put her child in the... hid her child? The Matthews situation? Can't remember her name. But no, she was superseded by none other than Lucy Letby, the nurse who had apparently killed people in her care. Young, very young. Trying to stay politically correct as Liam Payne videos are dropping like flies, as it seems that they're being suppressed and demonetised left, right and centre. So we're trying to behave. But yeah, Lucy Letby. But the Lucy Letby case has turned into a complete and utter disaster. And we're going to talk about it because in the matter of 3 days, we've had one report saying that the information has all changed. And then another one comes out to say that the notification of the changed mind isn't in fact true. So what is actually going on around the Lucy Letby case? Are we seeing here one of the biggest miscarriages of justice we've seen in the UK? Or is it simply just a mess? Does Lucy Letby deserve the title of the most hated female in England at this moment in time? Or is something else happening here? But before we get into it, if you're not subscribed to the channel, do! My name is Harsh and I bring you the news, trying to cut through the BS, and we very rarely do we accept the mainstream media's narrative. And we are currently trying to get over 50% subscribers. It'd be nice to have 100%, but that ain't going to happen, is it? But over 50... it helps the channel. Like the video, watch the video as long as you physically can, because again, all these little things help and they are completely and utterly free. And I do multiple videos a day. And shortly I'm contemplating going over to a completely live format. So there'll be multiple live videos a day. If we get over 60%, that's what I'm promising to do multiple live streams per day. But anyway, let's get into it. So the first one comes up as this. So expert changed mind. Deaf say Letby lawyers. Change mind over deaf say Letby lawyers. There's a picture of her. Lucy Letby's legal team say they will make a fresh bid to challenge her convictions. So, first of all, that pricks curiosity, doesn't it? What have they changed their mind? So it says Lucy Letby's lawyers have said that they will be asking the Court of Appeal to immediately review all of her convictions because an expert witness has now changed his mind on the cause of death of 3 of her victims. The former nurse is serving 15 whole life jail terms for murdering 7 of the people in her care. Again, we're just trying to tweak it so we don't get caught by the algorithm, and trying to kill 7 others while working as a neonatal nurse at the Countess of Chester Hospital. A barrister, Mark MacDonald, now told a news conference in London that the lead prosecution expert, Dr. Dewey Evans, has allegedly altered his view about how they died. He said, remarkably, Mr. Evans has now changed his mind on the cause of death of 3 of the victims, baby C, baby I and baby P. The BBC has contacted Dr. Evans for a response. He has not yet commented on Mr. MacDonald's claims. Now he has, and we're going to speak about that in a second. I'll show you what he's come back and said. Letby was convicted in August 2023 and has twice previously been refused permission to appeal against her convictions. The Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, said the court had previously rejected Letby's argument that expert prosecution evidence was flawed. Mr. MacDonald said the primary grounds of appeal at the previous hearings related to the admissibility before the jury of the evidence of the lead prosecution expert Dr. Dewey Evans. The defence argued twice at trial that Dr. Evans' evidence should be disregarded. This was refused by the trial judge. It was then later argued in the Court of Appeal and was refused in the Court of Appeal. Not reliable. The barrister added Dr. Evans had said to the jury that Lucy Letby had injected air down the nasal gastric tube and this had led to death of the 3 victims. This was repeated to the Court of Appeal, who may have been misled when they ruled on the application for leave against the convictions. He said Dr. Evans had revised his opinion in relation to baby C and had written a new report which he had given to the police months ago. But he said despite numerous requests, the prosecution had yet to give this report to the defence. The defence will argue that Dr. Evans is not a reliable expert and all the convictions are not safe. Dr. Evans previously told BBC File on Tour that baby C was likely to have died due to a combination of air and milk pumped via the nasal gastric tube into the stomach, which differed from what he had said in court when he only mentioned air. Following his appearance on the programme, he told the BBC it had led him to review the events leading up to the infant C's collapse and death. He thought it more likely that it was an injection of air into the bloodstream, though he stressed either would be inflicted injury. So I guess what they're trying to say here is it doesn't really matter about the application, it's the outcome. You know, however it happened and it caused death. The question here is a matter of how accurate does the information supplied by a professional expert for the prosecution, how accurate does that need to be in order to be relevant in a trial setting? Will people just simply argue, well, it doesn't matter how it was done, and the outcome is justified? Or does the process have to be clean and just? Now, this is the response. The response is this. If we go back up to the top, it says, expert denies he changed his mind in Letby case. And it goes on to say, an expert witness has described criticisms of his evidence by Lucy Letby's lawyers as unsubstantiated, unfounded, inaccurate. On Monday, the former neonatal's legal team revealed they would ask the Court of Appeal to immediately review all of her convictions. They allege lead prosecution expert Dr. Dewey Evans had altered his view about how they died at the Countess of Chester Hospital between 2015 and 16. In a statement, Dr. Evans said he had neither received any formal notification of the announcement nor any correspondence from Letby's barrister, Mark MacDonald, or his team. Dr. Evans added, Mark MacDonald's observations regarding my evidence is unsubstantiated, unfounded, inaccurate. His method of presenting his information reflects clear prejudice and bias. I find his style most unedifying, most unprofessional. It's highly disrespectful to the families of the victims that were murdered and harmed by Lucy Letby. Speaking later in an exclusive interview of BBC produced Welsh language news programme, I'm not even saying that, Dr. Evans said he was surprised how little he changed his mind while working on the case. He also pointed out that it was natural for an expert witness to change their mind as evidence changes and evolves. Dr. Evans said the only change in his evidence related to the date a child referred to as baby C died, but insisted it was a simple error by the prosecution. He said Mr. MacDonald's claims were remarkable, baseless, and incorrect. Mr. MacDonald said earlier he had nothing to add in response to Dr. Evans. Letby is serving 15 whole life jail terms. We've already spoken about that. The now 34-year-old, originally from Hereford, made 2 attempts to kill one of her victims, again, apparently. The barrister added, Dr. Evans had said to the jury that Lucy Letby had injected air down the nasal gastric tube and this had led to the death. This was repeated to the Court of Appeal, who may have been misled when they ruled on the application for leave against the convictions. So basically, this is where we are now. We're in a situation where you've got Lucy Letby accused of what she's doing. She's been tried, she's been convicted, she's serving 15 whole life sentences. But there seems to now be things being raised that could bring into question how accurate the information was that was used to convict her. So as I asked at the beginning of this video, are we seeing a miscarriage of justice? Is there something else going on here? Does Lucy Letby deserve the title that she has been given and the aforementioned sentences that she received for the crime? Do we have to consider how accurate the court process needs to be and how accurate the information within the trial needs to be, or does it ultimately come down to she did it, she deserves to be punished, and it doesn't really matter how we got there? Or does the fact that there could be problems with the information leads you to believe there could be problems elsewhere? Let me know down below how you feel about it. And also let me know if you want to know more about the case. Do we continue to follow it to see how this goes? Or is this just a case of the prosecution trying their arm at getting an appeal? And is this just what could be expected in any similar situation? Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I hope you all have a fantastic one. You're all looking amazing, by the way. And I'm going to love you and leave you. Mwah.